Never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats.
Rachel Zegler thought posting a video would silence her critics, but instead, she ignited the very firestorm she hoped to avoid. In a now viral video shot from what appeared to be her bedroom, the Snow White actress looked directly into the camera, her expression a mix of frustration and defiance. She spoke about how, despite the backlash, people continued to support her work. Her tone was a blend of emotional vulnerability and passive-aggressive indignation as she defended her performance, addressing the negativity that had surrounded the project since its announcement.
When I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
What Rachel thought would be a powerful message quickly turned into the internet's latest meme. Within minutes, clips from her video spread like wildfire. TikTokers took her words, adding their own reactions, from genuine disbelief to comedic skits. It was a viral moment that no one could have anticipated, especially Rachel, who believed this video would give her control of the narrative.
Excuse me, your curtain. Please allow me to help.
Help? From you?
I didn't mean to offend. I just thought you should know that
That I should know what? That some privileged white guy thinks his opinion matters? Get over your entitlement. I'm not some damsel in distress waiting for you to ride in on your high horse.
But the internet had other plans. As soon as Rachel hit post, chaos erupted across social media. On X, formerly Twitter, the platform went into overdrive, and what was supposed to be a redemption moment turned into a goldmine for her critics. Instead of calming things down, Rachel had inadvertently given her detractors all the material they needed to continue their mockery.
Snow White, budget $250 million, box office $43 million. Oh, but it's only been 2 days, give it a chance. No, I'm not gonna give it a chance. I'm not even talking about that number. Because like all the flops are unsurprising at this point. Something is going on behind the scenes with almost every major animation, video game, and movie studio that they're doing this intentionally or something. I don't fucking know. I'm not even gonna talk about this. People are like, oh wow, Snow White flopped. Who is surprised? You cast arguably the least genuine, most out of touch, and disliked person in her industry, and her industry is Hollywood. And the bad guy is Gal Gadot.
The hashtags were relentless. Snowflop became a trending topic, and Rachel's attempt to defend herself was seen as tone-deaf, self-centered, and completely out of touch with how poorly the film was being received. To many, it wasn't just a defense. It was proof that she hadn't understood the scope of the backlash. Online audiences had been waiting for a moment like this, and when it came, they pounced.
Alright guys, I watched Snow White, so you don't have to. Let's get into it. Now first things first, Snow White gets her name not from the fairness of her skin, as we obviously know Rachel Zegler would be a miscast in that sense. Instead, she gets her name from surviving a snowstorm. Her father and mother are king and queen to a utopian communist society. I'm not joking, guys. Everybody shares and is mindful of what each person is getting, and we spread our resources evenly, which is where this idea of fairness, as Snow White is the fairest of them all, is really presented in the film.
The backlash didn't just stop with hashtags. Review bombs, meme threads, and mocking reactions flooded the internet. Fans resurrected old interviews where Rachel had dismissed the original Snow White and claimed her version would be completely different. It wasn't a feminist reimagining that people were celebrating. It was a disrespectful swipe at a beloved classic.
I'm a narcissist. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
Okay.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird. And then it became like, I will elbow everyone out of the way to play the part. That people will assume is a love story just because like we cast a guy in the movie, right. Andrew Burnap. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
I say, if I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
And we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Instead of a fairy tale comeback, Rachel's video became the moment her public image began to unravel. The internet had chosen its villain, and it wasn't the evil queen. It was Rachel herself. People didn't forget her previous comments about the original 1937 Snow White, calling it weird and creepy, dismissing the romance as outdated. Those clips came back to haunt her, and it wasn't long before the internet turned their disdain into
a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
The fallout didn't stop at the internet. The film's box office numbers were equally damning. Snow White opened with just $45 million in its domestic debut, a devastating figure for any Disney live-action remake, let alone one tied to such a historic legacy. For comparison, The Little Mermaid, despite its own controversies, earned $95 million in its opening weekend. This stark difference raised eyebrows across the industry, with some even calling it Disney's biggest miscalculation in years. Theater chains began pulling the film from major screens, and some locations dropped it entirely within 2 weeks. For a studio like Disney, this was uncharted territory, and for Rachel, it marked the beginning of her public unraveling.
Please welcome Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot.
Visual effects push the boundaries of what we see on screen.
Their work makes the impossible seem possible.
With breathtaking ambition, they create magic that wraps its arms around our wildest imaginations.
Here are the nominees for Best Visual Effects.
Then came the Oscars, an event that should have been a chance for Rachel to redeem herself. Instead, her red carpet appearance alongside co-star Gal Gadot revealed the growing tension between them. The lack of warmth between the two was glaring, and fans and body language experts noticed immediately. Gal Gadot, while still contractually obligated to promote the film, seemed to distance herself from the project, and insiders later confirmed this. Meanwhile, Rachel found herself increasingly isolated, with no co-stars, directors, or industry figures coming to her defense. Her appearance at the Oscars, meant to be a turning point, only solidified her role as the face of Snow White's failure.